Welcome to Monday Momentum. As usual, this is your 20-minute power session with the goal to help you start your week with clarity, with focus, and with fire. Today's session, I think, is going to be a game changer. And it's no longer just about dreaming big, right? It's about building a life that really supports those dreams. So today we're going to be talking about from vision to action, how to build a calendar that supports your dreams in its entirety. And I want to say this again, because we have to be honest with ourselves, right? A lot of us have really big goals. But if I looked at your calendar today, right, what would those goals look like? And would it be reflected on your calendar? That's the question that you have to be asking yourself. And the reality is that if it's not in your calendar, then it is not a priority. I will say that again. If it's not in your calendar, then it is not a priority. So today, we are going to be talking about how to bridge that gap between your vision and execution. It's one thing to have a vision, it's one thing to dream, and then it's another to actually execute and make it happen. And then we're also going to talk about learning how to schedule your goals into reality. So getting them into your calendar, that's another big important thing. Remember, we're talking about how to build a calendar that supports your dreams. And then the third one is we will design a calendar that works for you, not against you. That is very, very important. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is I want us to start with having a vision when you feel like having a vision isn't enough, right? When you feel like, okay, I have this vision, I have this plan, but then it's not enough, right? It stops there. You have this gnawing feeling. How can I take it to the next level? How can I take it to the next step? And the truth is that you can have the biggest of goals and the clearest of dreams. But if it's not tied to a system, we talk about this a lot. If it's not tied to a system, then they'll just stay in your head and they'll always remain there, right? It'll be a dream, it'll be a goal, but if you don't start acting on it, start implementing on it, start executing it, and it just remains in your head. This is the truth. And a famous person said this, and I want to remember the person's name, but I can't. So maybe someone can tell me in the chat. But a dream without a plan is just a wish. I'll say that again. A dream without a plan is just a wish. And that's all it is. It's just wishful thinking, right? It's just something that you have in your head. But when you don't have a plan, it just becomes a wish. It just becomes a hope, if you might, another way to put it, right? And I've learned and I've noticed that the number one reason why people don't meet their goals or why they don't reach their goals is because they're not scheduling time to work on it. So you have this goal, new year, new me. You have this goal. But if you don't schedule time to build it, if you don't schedule time to work on it, then the likelihood of you reaching that goal, of you achieving that goal, of you surpassing that goal is very slim to none. So I want to ask you, as you're listening, whether you're live in the community and you're listening to this, or if you're watching the replay right now, right? I want you to look at your calendar right now. Pull it out. It's probably on your phone, but if you're old school, you might have it on an actual like journal or calendar or a year in review. But I want you to pull it out, right? And I want you to look at your calendar, maybe look at your weekly calendar. You could look at your monthly calendar, look at your quarterly, or even your goal, kind of your year calendar. Answer this question. Is your dream life on there? Is your dream business on that calendar? Is your dream goal on their calendar? Is your health goal scheduled? So not just business, right? Not just professional, but what about personal? Is your health goal scheduled on that calendar? Did you put it in? Are your values reflected in your weekly flow? The things that you want to do, the things that you want to go after, are they reflected there? That's another question that I want you to ask. I want you to pull out your calendar and just look. Is your dream business, your dream profession, your dream life, is that there? Is your health goal also there? That's something that you're thinking about, that you're working towards. Is it in your calendar? Do the values of who you stand for, what your business stands for, what your life stands for, what you want to achieve, does that reflect in your weekly goal, your flow, your plan? And I want you to really think about that. And if it does, right? Or if you're ready to even think about how to align your vision with your time, I want you to put align in the comments, because that's really what we're going for today, right? We want to figure out how to align your goals, your vision with a plan that you can then input into your calendar and make it work for you. That's what that looks like. So put a line in the chat if you're ready to figure this step out. Okay, so you know me, right? I like to kind of think through the mindset, but eventually I want to get us into the creation process of creating a system and then action. That is really my goal every Monday when I meet with you, is to figure out, let's come up with a mindset change. Let's then move on to figure out the right system to achieve that mindset change, and then the action that you take to implementing that goal. So I want us to shift from dreaming to doing. I'll say that again. You got to shift from dreaming to actually start doing, to actually start actualizing those goals. And here is a simple kind of system to help you build a calendar that keeps you moving forward towards your dreams, towards your goals, towards that thing that you really want to achieve. Easy way to think about it. So think about step one. As you're looking at your calendar, or maybe even as you're planning for next week, I want you to think about something. The first thing is block your priorities first, not your obligations. So not the things that you have to do, but block out the priorities that you really have to accomplish in order to move forward, um, as you think about your goals and your dreams. What you notice is that most people, they will fill their calendar with a bunch of obligations. So need to, I have to do this. And then they try to squeeze in their dreams later, right? But if you notice, high performers, high achievers, they do the opposite. They schedule vision aligned priorities first. So the things that will help them build that big dream or achieve that goal, that comes first. And that's something that you have to think and you have to understand and you have to realize and you have to start doing. So I want you to ask yourself this question, right? What are your 3 top goals this quarter? And I might even tell you, because this quarter just started, right? It just started today. And so I want to ask you, I want you to really ask yourself, what are your top 3 goals this quarter? And then the follow-up question that I want you to ask is, what time each week is devoted to each of those goals? Maybe one of those goals. How much time do you have each week that's devoted to that? If the answer is not none, then are you really going to achieve that goal? The answer is probably a no. Then I want you to do something. So you listed your 3 top goals this quarter. The quarter just started, so I'll give you a break. If you don't have those goals, create those goals right now. But then after you do that, right? If you don't have time each week devoted to your goal, then I want you to do that, right? That's part of my action, because I told you we'll build the system and then we'll act on it. But the next thing is, I want you to choose one vision aligned task, just one thing that you're going to block out on your calendar this week. So if you have a goal, right, and you look at your goal and you say, I don't have any time devoted to that. This is your time. This is your opportunity. Just write it down. Write down one vision aligned task that you're going to block out this week on your calendar, because it has to happen, right? That's what I want you to do. So that's kind of, if you think about step one, right? That is how you're going to now start blocking the most important things on your calendar, the most important things that are the things that are important the most, your priorities, block them down first. This is the time to do that. Step two, I want you, so this helps me, and maybe it might help you too. If it doesn't, scrap it. But I want you to create, almost, if when you think about step two, right, I want you to design weekly themes to stay focused. Because what you're going to do is, like, your brain is going to align itself with a certain theme, and maybe it'll increase your likelihood of achieving that goal. So I want you to create themes each day so that your brain, again, knows what to expect. Like, you have programmed it so well that, like, Mondays, it's like, okay, this is the thing I need to do Monday. What it does is that it avoids decision fatigue, and it really builds a rhythm. So if you have to make a decision every time about every little thing, you get really tired of doing that. So why don't you just do themes? And so, for instance, I'll give you a theme. Monday could be momentum, right? It could be where you start the week hard and you plan and you execute. So those are the times that maybe some of your big goals, you can put the task on a Monday to try to get it done. And then Tuesday, for someone like me, Tuesday could be content or creation. So if it's a time for me to maybe create content or create a strategy that I want to use to move the business forward, that could be a Tuesday for me. Wednesday could be, anything related to wealth. So Wednesdays could be, money. It could be investing. It could be finances. It could be the day that I speak to most of my investors. Whatever it is, figure out what that day could look like for you. And then Friday could be follow up. Remember how we talked about a few weeks ago how, part of your Friday, when you think thinking about, oh, this was our networking conversation where we talked about how can you grow. And so Friday could be follow up, networking, CEO time, business time. That could be what Friday looks like. But what it does is it helps you stay proactive and not reactive. So you know that on Friday, this is the thing that I'm going to do. This is the thing that I'm going to achieve. That is an example. So I just gave you one that works for me, but what could your theme days look like? So if you have an idea, drop it in the chat. I really want to hear what you could think. If you thought about doing theme days, right, what could those days look like? So drop it in the chat. I'd love to hear it. So we talked about making your priorities in your calendar. We talked about themes, theme days to help you. Then another thing that sometimes we forget to do, and I'm very guilty about this, is to build in recovery and white space. And so this is something that, like, if you are going back to back to back to back with zero margin, I think you're setting yourself up for burnout. Because at some point you need a break, and if you just keep going, that there's a high likelihood that you are going to burn out. So I've noticed that a lot of high achievers, they protect their energy because they create intentional buffer zones. And we talked about this again a few weeks ago because everything builds on each other, right? So think about maybe creating, after a time block, you create 15-minute buffer time between maybe your meetings or your time block. What that does is that you can feel rejuvenated, you can feel rested, you can feel empowered to go into the next thing that you're doing. And so you can add in that 15 minutes, like I said, but you can also add in, uninterrupted times for deep work. So we talked about that. You pick maybe 2 hours. You could start off with an hour. You could start off with 45 minutes of just deep work where you get to do work without distractions. I said last time, toss your phone somewhere. Don't break it, but like hide it somewhere. Toss it on the carpet. But figure out uninterrupted deep work time. And then you could also add in white space. And the purpose of the white space is for strategy, it's for reflection, or maybe just to breathe. So for me, this is very, very important because when I create white space, some of my brightest ideas and moments come in that time where it's just a time to pause, to reflect, and to strategize and to come up with ideas. So this could be, this could be what you're building, or this could be how you can build in recovery and white space. It's just thinking about what you can add into your day that actually gives you energy for the rest of your day. So I want you to do something. I want you to add just one protected time this week to your schedule. It could be for rest. It could be for focus. It could be for thinking. And I gave you ideas of what each of those could look like. Again, this does not have to be monstrous, right? It doesn't have to be large. It could be just small. It could be 15 minutes. It could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour of think time. But that's something that I want you to start thinking about and to start creating. So as usual, we talked about the mindset. We talked about systems, how to make this happen. And now I want to make it practical, and I want us to talk about how to take action. So this week, I want to push you, and I want to also give you an opportunity and access to jump in the community, in the circle community, and share some of this, so that you can encourage other people and so that they can do the same thing and grow. So this week, I want you to pick one big goal. It's the start of the second quarter. If you had New Year's resolutions and they failed, you get to start over. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame. There's no guilt. So pick one goal that you want to go after this quarter. And then I want you to purposefully schedule time to work on it. This could be twice a week on your calendar. This could be 3 times a week. Do what is feasible. Remember when I said last week, keep it simple, make it very simple so that you have a very high likelihood of succeeding. So when you schedule a time on your calendar, maybe you start with once a week and then you build up to twice a week and then you build up to 3 times a week. But the easier and the simpler you make it, the more likely you will achieve the goal, and the more likely you will have dopamine that will tell you, okay, if I did this, then I can do more. Then you can try to use themed days to stay consistent. So if any of those themed days that I did work for you or gives you ideas, take it, run with it. And then I want you to build in one protected block of white space on your schedule. I think this is probably the most important. I think this is where, this is where big dreams start getting created. This is where you start strategizing. It's when you allow your mind to rest and to recover that some of those massive goals start happening. And I want you to remember this, right? If your calendar does not reflect your dreams, neither will your results. So if your calendar looks like a mumbo jumbo of everything that has nothing to do with your dreams or your goals, you will not get results. And this is not a like maybe an if, a question. It's you will not get any results. So I want you to drop in the comments right now what goal you're blocking your time for this week. So tell me one thing, whether it's whether it's protected time, whether it's being consistent, whether it's time blocking. But figure out a goal, think through a goal that you're blocking time for, and put it in the comments. I'd love to hear kind of what people are thinking, how they're strategizing, what they want to do this next week to really achieve some of their goals. So I have a final thought for you as we wrap up. Stephen Covey said something that was very important. He said, don't prioritize your schedule. You have to schedule your priorities. I'll say that again. Don't prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. So the things that are important, the things that will help move the needle forward, the things that will help drive you, the things that will help you create the purpose that you're supposed to create, the impact. I want you to schedule those priorities and not prioritize your schedule, because your schedule is there and it's important because we talk about calendars, but the things in your schedule are the things that you need to prioritize, and you're going to be adding the most important things. I used to think before that I needed another round of 24 hours or an additional 6 hours in a day to get all the things done. But I'm learning that you don't need more time. You really just need clarity, and you need intention in every single thing that you're doing. It's clarity and it's intention. And that's why you come here every week on a Monday to get that clarity, to get that fire, to get that focus, so that you can then crush your week and crush your life. So as I wrap up, I want you to just remember that your calendar should be a blueprint of your dreams in motion. So your calendar really should be almost like a blueprint or a framework of your dreams in motion as they're happening, because you're putting in your goals in order to achieve those dreams. So if I pulled out like the last 3 months, I would see a kind of a pattern or progress report of the goals that you set, because you're slowly achieving them. So that's the blueprint. That's the framework of your deals, of your dreams alive, of your dreams in action. As usual, if you do any of this, right, and this is good work to help you grow. If you do any of this, I want you to tag me, whether it's in the community or on social media. I'm pretty sure you know my social media platforms, but if you do any of this, I just want you to tag me. And the reason why is because I want to encourage you, right? I want you to see what can happen when you dream, and when this becomes a reality, when you start taking action and you start creating goals and putting action items in your calendar to help you move forward with your goals. So as I wrap up, I just want to say, I want you to start thinking about building lives that really match your vision. But it starts with aligning yourself, your goals, and your dreams 1 week at a time. So thank you so much for the time this morning, wherever you are. I'm going to run into the chat and just kind of see what people are saying, and then so that you know where we are. Being proactive, not reactive, that is a key, and that is correct. And if you set yourself up to be proactive, to take action, you're going to see significant difference. Have a working calendar that helps you be proactive. Correct. Staying consistent. Love that. I'm blocking time to be more productive and consistent this week. That's right. So if you block time, if you really make a conscious effort to time block that, whatever time it is, and set specific goals that you want to accomplish in that time frame, in that time block, you will get it done. And I guarantee you that you will move closer to your goals. So I hear have one big goal, make out 2 to 3 times within the week dedicated to that. So that's great. So whatever that one big goal is, set 2 to 3 times this week that you want to achieve that. I have this course I've been pushing myself since last year. I'm going to break it down, fix it into my schedule 2 to 3 times a week. Thank you, Dr. and Kim, for that. I love that. And I want feedback as to when you finish that course, because I know you're going to do it. It seems massive, right? Because it's a whole course. But imagine if you broke it down into 30 minutes, 3 times a week. Before you know it, you will crush that. I want to be held accountable for that. I got you. Share your progress. Love that. So yes, everyone, this was a great morning session. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the community or wherever you see this. But have a wonderful start to your week.